Hey, welcome back. I am Eric Arnold. This is my barn. Also, basically my studio. Normally, I use the barn to make sports videos. Sometimes the barn is known as a sports barn. We're using it for political purposes now, at least in this video. Normally, I just make sports handicap videos. I've been trying to keep the political commentary to a minimum. Over the last month, I've been able to help myself just because things that are going on right now are so outrageous, so important that I just have to interject my political commentary. I have to. That's the whole point of having a platform, is to say what you think, if you think it's important. And by God, this stuff's important. Absolutely important. So, to keep the political commentary from overwhelming the sports videos, we're going to start making separate videos for the politics. This is politics. You want sports picks? Go to the other videos. And by the way, I am winning in those other sports videos. I thought I'd mention that. Some of you people stopped by here during the pandemic when I was losing. Well, I piled up a pretty good record of winning here. So, check it out if that's your whole criteria of, watching sports videos. So, where are we going to talk about today? Vaccination mandates, of course. If this is new or you haven't watched the other videos recently, the vaccination mandate is the worst damn thing I've ever seen. The worst thing I've ever seen the United States government do to its people. So I am at the position of, we got to stop this. I mean, this is it, man. This is it. If we don't stop this stuff soon, one is going to lead to another, it's going to lead to another, it's going to lead to another, and this train is going to get some momentum, and then it's going to be where we can't stop it. You cannot get in front of a moving train and stop it. It's got too much momentum. It's just going to run over you. So at the outset here, this is where we got to try to convince people that we're going down the wrong path here. Let's all get together and say no to this. Let's say no to this. So that's where I'm at. I think of people that I know watch this channel occasionally, my Democrat friends, and I'm trying to convince them that you're in the wrong here. This mandate that your president, that you voted for, this is wrong. This is just absolutely immoral and wrong. It's not going to do what you want it to do. There's no reason to do it to begin with. It has no purpose. It is evil. That is what I'm trying to get them to think about. Because I don't know that they've thought about it all that much at all, frankly. I've thought about it. So I'm trying to do that. I need to work on my delivery. I know that. I had a conversation. Perhaps that's the wrong word. Screaming match, argument with someone in my inner circle, off camera, a Democrat. And, all the things I said, hey, you're not going to win anyone over if you do this or that. I did it all, man. I lost my temper. So, that was wrong. Called him a Nazi. That was wrong. Let's see, what else we do wrong? Stupid, that was in there. It was all just wrong. I lost my temper. So I apologized. I felt bad that I lost my temper. I felt bad because I made this person feel bad. I don't apologize for my sentiment. What part of what makes me feel bad is that this person should know better, and they're just blithely going along with it. And I think what probably triggered me was at the point where I figured out part of their reason for going along with this is they believe that all the unvaccinated people are red cap, MAGA wearing morons. So they don't, they hate these people. So they're subhumans and they deserve to suffer. And that pissed me off. That really pissed me off. So that's what this person thinks. Now I informed him that he's wrong. You are wrong. I would say it's probably 50-50. You got a bunch of those type of people, no doubt about it. The white Trump Republican who just doesn't want to get vaccinated because he does not trust the man. And then you've got a lot of people, African Americans, Hispanics, urban, they could be urban, they could be rural African Americans. They don't want to get vaccinated either because they don't trust the man. And why the fuck should they? So it cuts both ways. My point to him was, a lot of these people you're screwing over are Democrats. Do you know that? Well, I don't believe that. You can look it up, just like Casey Stengel said. Go ahead, look it up. The stats show it, that there's just a big percentage of the minority population as well as the white population that don't want to get these vaccinations. So he learned something there. Now, I learned something too. Now, I looked this up. I was unaware that this mandate has an opt-out clause. In other words, that what Biden has proposed is 100 employees or more, those companies must fire anyone unvaccinated or does not bring in a negative test on, I think he said, a weekly basis. I was unaware of the testing exception, that you could get tested weekly, and thereby meet this mandate. So that makes it somewhat less horrible. It's still horrible. I mean, one, a lot of corporations are just going to go, they're not going to offer that opt-out clause to their employees. They're just going to say, it's not worth our time to be jacking with these negative tests. So, and then we got to be concerned where you got it from. Did you, fake it yourself? Or you getting in a back room from some, dirty third world testing facility where the test ain't accurate? It's just not worth it. So we're just going to go ahead and say you got to get vaccinated. We feel we're covered enough by the government mandate that we're on solid ground saying that. I don't think there are going to be a lot of corporations that present that as an option to their employees. And even if they do, there are going to be a lot of guys that just can't meet that who's going to pay for this test every week? Well, the employee is. If he's a low-rung employee, where's he got the scratch to do that? So it makes it somewhat less horrible, just about that much less. So I learned that. Another thing, let's see. Another thing he learned, or at least I sent it to him after the fact, after we screamed at each other, that his point was that he thinks this is necessary because all the hospitals are full with sick, unvaccinated COVID people, and people have heart attacks or strokes, they can't get in. So they're all just dying now because all the hospitals are full. Well, I'd say that's bullshit. There are a handful of hospitals here and there that are full, perhaps. I think overwhelmingly hospitals have capacity to take in people. The ones that are full, I think, are just isolated pockets, perhaps. And that's a transitory deal there. It's a temporary thing. That's going to pass. So you're going ahead there with a sledgehammer trying to solve a problem that's going to be gone in 4 months, 4 weeks, probably. Furthermore, these beds that are all full, there's a piece in the Atlantic. If you know what the Atlantic is, it's a far left publication. I had to resort to that because this person, being a Democrat, will only listen to far left sources. The piece in the Atlantic talks about a study done by the Harvard Medical Group, or medical school. They've analyzed, I believe, like 50,000 patients at a variety of hospitals, looking at their charts, trying to figure out, who are these people? Why are they here? What's wrong with them? Is there any thread to what's wrong with them? How sick are they? What they found was almost 50%, 48%, are either mild COVID cases or asymptomatic. Let me say that again. 48% are mild or asymptomatic. It means the guy's not sick at all. They've just got him in the bed there for precautionary reasons. Now, let's real world this. Why are they putting them in the bed there? Because they're getting paid a shitload of money from the goddamn government for every COVID case. The Reading Hospital here in where I live in Berks County, Pennsylvania is bankrupt. Why? Well, they undertook an ill-timed expansion project, so they buried themselves in debt. And then the COVID hit, right before that, and the world shut down. They were forced to close. They were forced to turn off all the things that make them money. So now they're bankrupt. So I don't blame hospitals, I guess, for doing this sort of thing. I guess, at a certain point, yeah, you got a bed taken up with an asymptomatic COVID patient, and you just turned away that guy who's about to drop dead of a heart attack. I don't think that's a good idea. But then you're making more money off the COVID guy, aren't you? So, that's what's happening in some percentage. That is happening. How often, I don't know. But that's what the Atlantic piece says. Half these cases, they're not even that sick. So you got people that aren't even that sick filling up, or half the hospital filled up with people that ain't that sick. So, oh my God, we've got to do something. Stop the spread. So that's not happening. I don't know. Another thing I learned, is that if anyone out there who's concerned about what's going on with this stuff, if anyone out there who's agitated by this, if you're half as angry about this as I am, and I guess I learned that during this argument where I just lost my temper, and I learned I'm really pissed off about this. I am completely and totally pissed off about this. I think CNN did some poll, which the numbers were so overwhelming, I can't say it's a lie. It's like, it's probably close to true, even though it could be shaded one way or the other, because CNN is, it's a lying organization. It's a mouthpiece of the Democrat Party. It's not a news organization. But their poll basically showed, everybody's angry, that like 90% of Republicans are angry. I suppose I believe that, that 70% of independents are angry. I'm totally angry. I'm completely pissed. This is wrong, and it really upsets me that this is something that's being discussed in this country. So, I got to work on my delivery to Democrats other than screaming in their face. I know that. I did get a nice text from a Democrat friend of mine who said he did agree with my point. And he sent it the same day I'd had the screaming match, so that made me feel better. I was feeling really kind of low. And like I said, I felt low because I made this, a person in my inner circle feel bad. But I also felt bad because this person should know better. And that kind of really disappointed me. And then, I get this nice text from a Democrat friend who said he agreed with me on the vaccination point. It's like, all right, maybe all hope's not lost. The Democrats want you to believe, I just lost my notes there. The Democrats want you to believe that this is popular, that people want this vaccination mandate. I'm not so sure. I mean, I saw a poll, and I knew right away it was a lie, where they said 60% of Americans agree with the vaccination mandates. And right off the bat, I know that's a lie. I mean, it's a lie. How do I know this? Well, the internet tells me that we got 210 million adults. 210 million adults in this country. So that's what we're talking about. That's who's, they're trying to get the teenagers vaccinated, but they haven't come up with something that they think works yet. I mean, why they need to get them vaccinated, I don't know, because they basically are immune to this disease. But of course, that would stop these people not. So 210 million, of that, roughly 70 million are unvaccinated. So you got 1/3 of the people are unvaccinated, roughly. One third of adults unvaccinated. So you're telling me that of the whole pie, 60% favor a vaccination mandate? That's bullshit. That's a lie. What that means is, if anyone knows math, I'm going to assume everybody in the unvaccinated, corridor slice is against these mandates. I mean, I suppose, you got like 2 wolves and 1 sheep, or let's say 200 wolves and 100 sheep here, and the 100 sheep go, I don't know, there's a mandate here on the table that we get eaten for dinner. And 99 will go, I think that kind of sucks. And 1 will stand up and go, well, I don't mind being eaten. I'd kind of like to be eaten. What? I think that's okay. So I guess it's possible there are, 1 or 2 people here in the unvaccinated thing that think these mandates are a good deal. I'm going to say hardly few, very few. So that means if you get all these people against this goddamn thing, these people have to line up at almost 90% to get to that 60% number. I say bullshit. There's no way 90% of vaccinated people are for these mandates. Bullshit. That's what I say. Bullshit. 90%. That's a lie. I call a lie. And these polls have been outed over the last 20 years. If we've ever seen anything, it's these polls coming up to elections that are off by 10, 5, 10 points. It's not an accident. They're doing it on purpose. They're trying to shape and influence your opinion. It's not a poll. It's an influence tool. That's what these polls are. So them coming out with something saying 60% are in favor of these mandates is simply a lie. Lie. I don't know what the real number is. Honestly, what I think it is, I think it's more 60-40 in my favor. That 60% of the whole pie are against these mandates. Now, is that enough? No, we need more than that. We need 70-30. We need 80-20. We need every last person we can to convince people this is bad. This is going down the wrong path. This is going to lead to some really terrible things happening. You're going to create a permanent underclass in this country, a medical apartheid. I ripped that phrase off. I don't know who used it, so I can't accredit them, but someone else used it, but I liked it. It's wrong. It's segregation. It's terrible. So that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to get this across to you that these are bad things. Now I saw this, which I thought was interesting. Someone I've never heard of before because, I'm an old white person and I, live in my little box. I try to occasionally, peek over the fence and, see what the left is doing or the younger people, things that I don't generally put my feet into. I guess there's a rapper out there by the name of Nicki Minaj. It's a female. And now she's in trouble because she had the temerity to speak out against the vaccinations. And she didn't even say, this is terrible, don't get vaccinated, you're a moron if you get vaccinated. All she did was ask some really reasonable questions. She just said, a friend of mine had adverse effects to it. I guess to get it correct, what was it, a friend of a friend, I guess a friend's boyfriend or a friend's, she knew a couple, and the man got vaccinated and then shortly thereafter became impotent, her words. And that man was going to get married to another woman, and the woman called off the wedding now because he's impotent. I don't know what any of that means. I mean, she didn't get into the details. You only got, what, 144 characters in Twitter to, say your piece. So there wasn't a lot of detail. What does that mean, impotent? Does that mean he couldn't get it up? Does that mean his dick fell off? Does that mean his balls fell out? What does that mean? I don't know. And, why are we linking that back to the vaccination? That sort of thing. I mean, maybe it was just his time for his dick to fall off. I don't know. But at any rate, that was what she put out there. Just saying, hey, this happened, so think about getting vaccinated. It's a personal choice. Don't get bullied into it. That was words she used. Think about it, make your own decision. Well, of course, the elites went crazy. Holy cow, you're supposed to be on our team. What are you doing? Oh my God, this is terrible. You're telling people to think for themselves? So she's, of course, being bullied now. And she's fighting back pretty well. And she has apparently a huge platform of followers and whatnot. So she's defending herself pretty well. And they're real concerned about this because I think they invited her to the White House, trying to get her back into the tent. It's like, what? Hey, what? Just, I don't know if you understood how stupid you are. We want to, just kind of pat you a little bit and help you see where you're wrong. And if that doesn't work, then they'll threaten her. That's what the White House invitation would be all about. But she's defended herself pretty well, despite the fact that she's being attacked. And then she says that Twitter suspended her. Now, Twitter denies this. When it comes to anybody or anything in Twitter, I believe anything other than Twitter. Twitter lies like a rug. So I believe 100% Twitter suspended her. And then lied about it and said, no, we didn't suspend her. It's just more of the same. It's wrong speak. She spoke wrongly, and now she must be canceled. She must be censored. She must be punished. Is this the America we grew up in? This is all wrong. This is all terrible. There's no reason to be doing this. There's so many other things the government could be doing that maybe we might even agree on. Now, I'm trying to, on the fly, think of one goddamn thing I would agree with Joe Biden on, and at the moment I can't come up with it. But right now, all that he's doing is trying to tear this country apart. And my point on the anger that I missed, let me circle back to that. I think that's something that Biden's press secretary, a phrase she uses. So there, we have something in common. I'm going to circle back. How do you pronounce that? Psaki? Jen Psaki? Is the P silent? Well, anyway, I'm going to circle back on the anger. I think there's going to be fighting. At some point, if we keep going down this road, there is going to be a war of some type. I don't know, it's going to be armies standing in a field, Civil War type, going against each other, or it's going to be a guerrilla type deal where there'll be fighting in the streets. But I do think that shots are going to be fired, within the next 5 to 10 years of the way we're going. Things haven't even begun to get bad yet. That's the thing. Right now, economically, we're still hanging on. These policies that we're following, which are linked to the lockdowns and the endless printing press and the government has to intercede because of the virus, that just keeps pumping more money into the system. Sooner or later, the whole thing's going to collapse. And just like the depression or the pandemic, history will repeat itself. We had a pandemic 100 years ago. 10 years after that, we had a Great Depression. That's coming. There's going to be an economic collapse like we haven't seen since the 30s, that none of us have lived through, none of us know how to deal with. And then things are going to get real and ugly. And with the anger level in this country, yeah, that's when I think things will totally break up. Unless we get together now and try to come together and say, stop this. Stop going down this road, government. Know your place. Stop trying to take all our rights away. Give us some space. You're suffocating us. There's no reason to single out these unvaccinated people. What, you want them to get a vaccination? when the other people are vaccinated, what's the point? You're saying that vaccination doesn't work, so you want them to get a vaccination that doesn't work? Why don't you just respect their choice? In a few months, this is all going to be over anyway, until they've come up with another variant to keep this going. But soon everybody in this country is either going to have had the damn thing, or been vaccinated, or had it and been vaccinated, some combination of such, and the virus is just going to peter out. I keep saying that, and it hasn't happened yet, so I guess I could be wrong. But I don't know. The proper course of action here would be just let it alone. Just let it go. Just go on to something else. Why do you need to segregate a third of Americans and say they don't get to have a job? That's horrible. Lastly, what I got here for you is I've been starting to just try to mentally, make up who's speaking out on this, who's on our side, who's the ones that are on the right side of history here, who are the ones saying, hey, this is not right, this is not right. And it's a lot, the list of good guys, I think, is a lot shorter than the list of bad guys. I mean, a list of bad guys, I could just list every politician, every corporation. The corporations can't wait for this mandate. They're licking their chops. This gives them certainty. This protects them from lawsuits. Oh, sorry, got to fire you. We didn't know what to do. I mean, we were really struggling with this vaccinated, unvaccinated thing. We were afraid of getting sued by all the vaccinated people because, they're blaming you if they get a sniffle. But this clears it all up for us. We can just can you now. And yeah, we'll miss you for about a day, but we'll probably replace you with a robot or some damn thing. So we're not really worried about it. The corporations can't wait to do this mandate. But good guys, here's my list, and this is just a short list because I haven't totally scoured the internet yet. This was done in about 5 minutes. Eric Clapton, favorite artist of mine. Clapton is God. Joe Rogan, very influential podcaster. I believe he has come down pretty well here on the anti-lockdown, anti-mandate side. Jim Brewer, recently, comedian. Honestly, I didn't know who Mr. Brewer was. So I apologize, Mr. Brewer. He's a former Saturday Night Live alumni, and he has come out against the lockdowns, the mandates. He's, how has he done it? And that's how a lot of these guys have done it, these performers. They've said, I'm not playing any venue that requires everybody to be vaccinated. Fuck that. Good for them. Right side of history. Good for them. So he's said that in the past, I think, 48 hours. Dave Mustaine, another guy I had to look up because I'm an old white guy. Apparently he's a big wheel in the heavy metal scene, frontman for Megadeth. I guess he was initially hooked up in the early days with Metallica. Now he's a lead singer of Megadeth. I guess down at Camden last night, he came out and made a nice little speech against the tyranny of masks and what have you. Good for you, Dave Mustaine. So he's there. Nicki Minaj, got to put her in there. I mean, she didn't say don't get vaccinated. She didn't say that. She didn't say anything. And she actually said wear your mask. Wear your mask. I'm throwing her on this list anyway just because she got the balls to come out and say anything. Yeah, and she did point out that there are a lot of people on her side of the aisle that think like she do, but they're too afraid of being attacked, of being canceled, to say anything. So she's got the balls to stand up and say something. Good for you. So you belong on the good guy list, even if you do say wear my mask, which is fucking useless. But we'll put you on the good guy list just because you got the balls to speak freely. And then I threw Roger Daltrey on there because I know he's made statements in the past to the effect of this cancel culture is fucking horrible. So, and I love The Who. So kudos to Roger. Now, the bad guys, like I said, I mean, you can go down a list of all the bad guys. There's so many bad guys, you can't count them all. So my bad guy list is pretty short. We got the Buffalo Bills. Fuck them. May you never reach a Super Bowl. They're not allowing any fans to go into games unless they're vaccinated. I guess they got so many fans they could just toss a third of them. Bye. Goodbye. So, screw the Buffalo Bills. Madison Square Garden, that doesn't surprise me. I mean, that's the Dolans. The Dolans are some of the scummiest owners in the sports world, so to see them on the wrong side of history, I'd be shocked if they were on the right side of history. So, no surprise there. And I'm sure you could go down the list. Now, here's another point I want to make about how popular these mandates are. They want you to believe these things are popular, that everyone wants these things. You know how I know they're lying? Where are the Democrat politicians? Where are they at? Where are they at rushing the microphone saying, this is a great idea. I think this is well overdue. This should have been done several months ago. Trump should have done this, and we're lining up to do this. They're not anywhere. I looked in my newspaper again and again and again and again. My local leaning left newspaper, and most of your local papers, they all lean left. The national media doesn't lean left. It's over there somewhere, between the Soviet Union and China. I mean, it's Marxist. All the national outlets practically are Marxist. But the local media is a little more this way, a little more to the right, certainly not neutral, definitely left-leaning. They've silence. No editorials, no op-eds, no pieces where they go around to the local politicians saying, would you like to make a statement for the record about this mandate that is probably the biggest departure from normal American procedure in our lifetimes. Some would argue the most revolutionary thing that's ever been done in this country. Would you like to comment on that? Nothing. Silence. Nothing. That's how I know that this is not popular. If this was popular, these people would run each other over, running to a microphone to say, this is great, hooray Joe Biden, hooray, we're going to defeat the virus by fucking over 1/3 of Americans. Half of those are our Democrat voters too. Fuck them too. They couldn't wait to do that if this was popular. So that's how I know this is not that popular. Well, we got to make it more not that popular. Got to speak out. You got to talk. You got to say your piece. You got to let it be known. Hey, I'm here on this. This is where I'm at on this. I'm not neutral. I'm not just sitting saying, well, I don't know. Maybe this is the thing to do. Maybe this is the thing. Maybe we just can't avoid this sort of thing. Fuck that. You got to talk loudly and hard to anyone that'll listen. And even if they won't listen, let them have it. I guess I just counteracted my argument about, we got to go to the Democrats and kind of smooth them over and win them over to our side. I don't know. I'm not a very good salesman. I work for myself, so I can sell. But I guess I'm not a trillionaire, so I'm not that good of a salesman. But I also think there is a time to just say, this is where we're at on this. And this is fucking bullshit. This is terrible. This is totalitarianism, whatever you want to call it. Fascism, Marxism, whatever. This is the government stepping on the little guy. Just crunch. Where's his rights? Where's the Constitution? Where is that? This is wrong, and I don't care. That's my point on this. I made this point earlier, and I'll make it again. The courts are going to be useless in this. Absolutely useless. The courts are controlled by Marxists. 2/3 of lawyers in this country are Democrats. So all of them favor government intervention. 2/3 of them favor government intervention, and the other third are afraid of offending the other 2/3 because they're either married to them, they go to the cocktail parties sponsored by those guys, they're dependent on the bar association ratings from the guys that control the Bar Association, who are all Democrats. There are all these, so the 1/3 of people that might think our way, they're all cowed and are afraid to step out of line. So the legal community, they are going to line up lockstep against freedom. They are going to back these mandates to the hilt. Nothing we can do about it. So if you think you're going to get redress in the courts, Republican governors, you're crazy. It's not going to happen. You're going to lose. And then what are you prepared to do? So think about that, Republican governors. What are you prepared to do when you lose in court? Because you're going to. You absolutely are going to. Don't get wrapped up in the correctness of your arguments. Don't get wrapped up in your flowery language and your, oh wow, this is good convincing prose I'm writing here. It's not going to matter. It's a stacked deck. So then what are you prepared to do? Think about that. All right, well, I think I've ranted there as much as I have to say here on this matter for this episode. Vaccination mandates and you, and how are we going to stop them? So I'm not sure when the next one will be. Who knows? I mean, sometimes these episodes just create themselves. When the Biden administration comes out and says unvaccinated people can't get on an airplane, maybe that'll be the next one. Who knows? That might happen by, frankly, I think that would have happened by today. So next week, probably that'll happen. And, maybe that'll be the next political episode. But we do appreciate you being here. And hit the like button. Hey, hit the dislike button if you're a Marxist Democrat and you don't like what I'm saying. At least I know you're out there. And we're here. We're here. This is where we're standing. And we're not going to just roll over and let you have it. So I don't mind if you do that. Hit subscribe if you want to hear me rant some more and you just can't get enough. So I need to hear somebody say what I want to. I'm pissed and I need somebody to speak out and say what the hell's going on. So if that's what you want, hey man, come on over. We're going to rant for the next few months here in this barn until YouTube cancels me. So good. I appreciate it. Thanks. And we'll see you again.